Did you know a tiger can eat a whole human body and leave no remains left over? Well, neither did I. And Carol Baskin's murder case is a very interesting one, and one that does not come around very often. As one who found extreme interest in this topic, I did an extensive amount of research on it, and I believe I'm equipped with the correct knowledge to inform you about it. Today I will cover who Carol Baskin is, and a brief overview of her murder case, how we can get her locked up, as well as some more interesting facts regarding this murder case. Now, to start on who Carol Baskin is. Carol Baskin is the research and owner of Big Cat Rescue, also known as BCR, located in Tampa, Florida. Carol Baskin was happily married to the guy by the name of Don Lewis, a multimillionaire. Don Lewis put the majority of the funds into Big Cat Rescue, and that is what started it. Don Lewis went missing at the age of 60 on August 18, 1997. Days after the disappearance, deputies found his van abandoned at a nearby airport, where he allegedly planned to take a trip to Puerto Rico. Lewis's keys and briefcase were still left inside. There were many conspiracies formed about what actually happened, however, all of them don't make sense. The first conspiracy is Don Lewis flew out of the US and is now living off the grid in another country. The second conspiracy theory, which is most popular and the one I believe, is that Carol Baskin killed her husband. Now, going along with this, there's also a ton of subcategories and conspiracies formed around this. Some of them are people believe that she put her husband in a meat grinder and fed him to the tigers, as well as she put him in an oil well. Now, there are many things that led people to believe this, and this video is just a quick compilation of Carol Baskin being mischievous and showing her bad side.
A local millionaire vanishes without a trace, but did he simply walk away? Or did something more ominous happen to him? I never threatened him.
His wife, Carol Lewis, says he was planning to transport cars to Costa Rica.
He said to be sure and get the Costa Rica truck ready because he was leaving early in the morning for Miami. And that was the last thing that he said to me.
The last thing he said to me was that he needed me to have Kenny get a truck ready because he was going early, he said, the next day to Costa Rica.
Carol had left Wildlife on Easy Street. This is at 3 o'clock in the morning. Her car broke down, and Carol ran into her brother, who was accompanied by another deputy. The second deputy gave her a ride back to her home.
It's funny, he grew up to be a sheriff's deputy, which was the last thing I ever thought my brother would grow up to be, because he was so shy. I never really knew my brother because, gosh, by the time I was 15, he would have been, 9? We had a meat grinder. If you've ever seen a Butcher Boy meat grinder, it's about that big around. That became like this wholly exciting thing that I ran him through that grinder, and it's like, I couldn't run his hand through the grinder, much less a body. If I were gonna, if somebody wanted to kill you, then they would put like sardine oil all over you, something that the cat wants to eat, not something the cat wants to drool on, because the perfume, that's all they want to do is just drool all over it. It's just like,
Investigation indicated Carol had left Wildlife on Easy Street to drive to a nearby store named Albertsons to pick up some milk byproducts for the cats. This is at 3 o'clock in the morning.
There's no way that I can finally say, gee, I didn't do it. I can't do it.
the day his death certificate came, I opened the letter, and I remember looking out the window, and then the next time I remembered anything, it was pitch black outside. It was just like I had just completely zoned out. I don't know where I went.
The ownership of money and property comes from doing things in a certain way. Those who do things in a certain way, whether on purpose or accidentally, get rich.
As you may have noticed,
Netflix's Tiger King is a whirlwind roller coaster of a ride and some of the most shocking.
As you may have noticed, there was many interesting statements she made. As you may have noticed, when she mentioned the meat grinder and her shoving her husband through it, she laughed. That is not something one would do after the vanquish of their husband. It is also important to note when they mentioned about the death certificate, she actually filed for that the day that she was able to the 5-year mark, because you have to wait 5 years before you can actually officially sign that certificate. And she actually went down to the courthouse and got that document the day that the very first day that she actually could, which is very interesting for people that just had their husband left. They typically never get over that, and they often don't sign the death certificate. There are many petitions going around, one from change.org that is a main petition that's a website that does a ton of petitions, and they actually have one to get Carole Baskin locked up. The form of this petition actually ended up the Florida Sheriff Office to reopen this murder case. Now, I urge you to sign the petition on change.org to get the investigation of Carole Baskin to continue. We are running out of time today, but I urge you to investigate Carole Baskin and watch Tiger King if you have not already, as there are way many more statements that she mentions that get you thinking about this murder. Today I've covered a background on who Carole Baskin is and an overview of her murder case, as well as how she killed her husband and how you can get her locked up by signing the petition. And to bring the attention to the sheriff of her town, I urge you to sign this petition to get Carole Baskin put in prison for once and for all. Thank you.